All right, let's see if anyone joins this completely random live again. Mm, Hi, Miguel. Hi, Viper. I'm a little bit, as usual, a little bit earlier than I thought I would be. It is completely random. Hi, B Rand. Hey, guys, how are you doing? Sorry, I am almost done. Almost done. All right, done. Hi, everyone. Hello, hello. Oh, thank you for joining, Miguel. I appreciate it. 30 minutes away from a client. Cool. Hi, Rolik Plays. Hi, Kent. Hi, William. Thank you, Miguel. I try my best. But yeah, I try my best, but to be, completely frank, I also love data and I learn a lot in the sharing process. Happy Friday. Yes, I can't wait for it to be Saturday and Sunday because my phone stops ringing. I had to put my phone on silent right now, and it's always nice. Hi, a day on the road. I just found your two calculators. Just want to let you know they're very helpful for any independent Yeah, that's what I hope. I hope that you guys use it. I hope that people do find it helpful. And I hope this is one of the ways that at least the people who use it will stop taking loads that are costing them money, you know? Good afternoon. Hi, Gilberto. Ready? Let's go. How do you deal with freight guards? So we have been very, very lucky. We have never received a freight guard. Toot, toot, toot. Knock on wood. But an acquaintance of mine just received one for the stupidest thing. It wasn't even basically, yeah, he received it for the stupidest thing and he had to pay money to get it down. Yeah, I hear a lot of horror stories about freight guards, how folks need to, sometimes the freight guard is going to be fraudulent, meaning that whatever the broker is saying happened actually didn't. And then they do it in order to just pocket some extra money. It's horrific. There needs to be a system where carriers are also able to vet brokers in the same way, which has a consequence, right? There are a lot of broker review platforms where carriers do review brokers. However, unfortunately, they not enough people use it, right? The one thing that, and a lot of people say this, the one thing that the trucking side of the trucking industry, the bad thing is that we can't get people to come together and kind of stand as a unit. Thank you so much for your support. My first live. Thank you for your information. It helps us out there. Oh, I'm so glad. And thank you for the support. And yeah, I try to, as time goes on, I'm trying to make more and more videos that will actually help folks in this industry. Yeah. So yeah, in terms of freight guards, fortunately, we have never had one. Yeah. But I don't know. I do know that from my acquaintance, this was his first freight guard, and he has a stellar record. Like literally, not a single out of service violation in 3 or 4 years that he has been in business. He runs business very well, I have to say. Not a single violation. The moment that freight guard showed up, he couldn't book a single load. Ridiculous. Hi, all. Hi, Marcel. Watch your videos, very helpful. I'm so glad. Good afternoon. I am good. How are you? I have been watching you for a couple of years. Appreciate all the information. Thank you, A Day on the Road. I appreciate you guys. You also make me think. You guys are the source of new ideas for videos very often, and you guys teach me a lot. Hi, Vadim. Hi, Amstel. Hi, Linda. Thank you for watching. One moment, guys. I'm so sorry. Just give me 1 second. Uh, Sorry, guys. I'm going to step away for just a second because one of my guys is calling me and I need to answer the phone. So be right back. Okay, I'm back. I do apologize sometimes. See, that's why I can't wait for it to be Saturday or Sunday. um, but yeah, phone ringing off the hook all the time. How do you add a truck to IFTA account? So it depends on the state, right? The IFTA account is going to be different for each and every state, like the prompts and how the system looks. In California, there's literally a option to add a VIN number to the IFTA account. Yep, for a second truck. Where can we find the calculators? Okay, so if you go, I'm going to change my banner. If you go to this website, truckingmadesuccessful.com, that's my website. On the first page, you're going to see this banner saying new. There's a cost per mile calculator and there is a load profit calculator, and both of them are completely free. Let's see, where are my comments? There we go. Got inspected twice in Texas this week. Yeah, our record for inspections on one truck was 3 inspections in 1 week. 3 inspections in 1 week. All of them were clean, so it was good for our CSA score. But yeah. Did you pass, by the way, the Chronicles of Red Top Ridge? Did you pass? Was everything okay? Hello, Miranda. Amazing job. Thank you for the updates from Corona, California. Thank you, Patriot USA. My God, my pronunciation. I get tongue-tied very often. No matter what the reviews of the broker would be, carriers will keep booking loads because there are less loads than trucks. That's why a system in our favor is not going to work, not in this market. I tend to agree with you. That's true. Um, yeah, unfortunately, that is very true. Can't argue. One violation in 6 years. That is amazing. That is amazing. That is something to be super proud of. And in this market, that really, really helps. Whoa, what's going on here? What is a freight guard? Linda, thank God you don't know. A freight guard is basically, there is a website called Carrier 411. Yeah, Carrier 411, and only brokers have access to it. If you try to call or make an account as a carrier, you get blocked right away. And brokers can basically write reviews about your company, but worst case scenario, they can put a freight guard on you, basically saying to other brokers, be careful about using this carrier. The problem is because carriers cannot get access to that website, no one basically controls the brokers, and very often we see that brokers mispost things. Like there was a case that ended up in court years ago where the broker flipped out at a driver who wasn't answering his phone literally like 11 or 12 hours before pickup. He was sleeping. The driver was sleeping. It was early in the morning. And this asshole wrote a freight guard, just fraudulent freight guard, saying that this is a double broker and this and that. And the carrier ended up losing a ton of business and they won in court. But yeah, that's a freight guard. Jonah bake dance. I know. I have to. I love baking. I actually don't like dancing, but sometimes I do, sometimes depending on the mood. But the problem is I literally have been swamped. I haven't baked in such a long time. But I promise I will make a bake dancing video when I'm baking the next time. Gilberto, we're experiencing crazy smog in Chicago. They say it's the worst air quality in the nation. Apparently, Canadian wildfires are to blame. Yikes. Yeah. I mean, I live in California. So when there are wildfires here, sometimes you will see the sky turn orange and ash fall, and the air quality is horrific. Like you cannot be outside. You cannot be outside. Um, Hey, Miranda, the charts look amazing. Thanks for the update. I'm so glad you like them. Yeah, the point of them was for you guys to also be able to, because I go through them pretty quickly. But if you're someone who thinks the same way as me, I love diving into data. The point was to get you guys to interact with them and really dive deep into the information that is relevant to you. So I'm glad that you guys like them. Question, I've been looking into cargo vans. Do you think it's a smart move? So unfortunately, I'm not as familiar with cargo vans. What are they called? Sprinters, any specialized car haulers, hot shots. This is not my area of expertise. I teach from experience. And my experience is with reefers, dry vans, flatbeds, and step decks. So I wouldn't be able to tell you much. Because I don't have visibility into what's going on with cargo vans and the rates there. But if anyone can help, please do. When are they switching to mouth swab drug tests for drivers? Do you have any information on this topic by chance? Thank you, Jack. I do not have information on that topic. I have seen like glimmers of information here and there, but I never kind of dove into it. I will look into it. If you want to shoot me an email, I will dive into it and I will let you know. And by the way, my email, I should. Okay, so my email is this one, talkabouttrucking@gmail.com. Okay, so where was I? uh, duh, 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 duh. Filed on Scotland's bond yesterday. They agreed on 3,800, but only made. Why? So, what excuse did they give you to pay you only 2,100? I am not a fan of Scotland. When we were on reefers, I did not like them after a while. In the beginning, obviously, I was obsessed with any broker who would work with us because we were new. That was 2019 and I was new to the industry. But after being in this industry for a while, Scotland is one of those that I was not a fan of. But did you ask them why they underpaid? I also just filed on a broker's bond. It was, I forgot what their name, not Express, something. And by the way, someone wrote in the community posts about R&R Express. This is a broker we used to work with a lot. And yeah, I would not recommend. I would be careful working with them. Our factoring company no longer factors with them. Basically, they don't pay, or if they do, it takes forever. Hi, Nurlan. This new highway for carriers went live today. Have you checked it out yet? Yeah. Did it go live today? I actually have seen it for a while now, at least on my system, where you can check brokers to see if they have like the same addresses and so on and so forth. I have seen it for a while, if that's what you're talking. About um so it's worse than DC. I make more running goods from the border in my charger than I do hauling with a semi. Yeah, it's funny, isn't it, how it works? A lot of people will say that they make more money doing Uber than they do OTR and trucking. So, yeah, it's a tough industry. It for sure takes you for a spin. Someone commented today under the market update saying, what is it called? That she's always smiling in such a bad market makes me think I'm looking at a crazy woman. You have to be a little crazy to stay in this, right? Because it's been what has it been? 3.5 years of this. But I'm a strong believer in what doesn't kill us makes us stronger. So yeah, it's a hard industry. It's a unforgiving industry, that's for sure. Boise, Idaho is on fire right now. 4 p.m. looked like midnight with the smoke. Yikes. Yikes. Yeah, be careful going outside or breathing that air. A dry van or reefer. If that's a question to me, we don't do dry van or reefer. We do flatbeds and one step deck. I'm right now. I'm not, and our step deck this time has the ramps. It has the load levelers. It's like decked out. Yeah, it's currently not worth it in my opinion. But we'll see what happens. We are changing up our operations a little bit starting middle of August, middle of this month. So I'm very curious to see whether that helps or not. Um, Thank you. I have a carrier to work with and I know how to dispatch. So, what is required initially to start dispatching as I'm outside the United States? So what is required to dispatch? You need to have all the information of the carrier. You need access to the load board, right? Do you have a contract with that carrier already? Oh, if I have a carrier to work with. Yeah, you need a contract with that carrier. You need to figure out what your payment terms are. Mm, so on and so forth. Scotland is providing false rate agreement between us to fabricate payment to trick me into hauling the load for less than we agreed to and stole my services. What do you mean they provide? I'm curious, so I'm not fully understanding. So Scotland underpaid you from 38 to $2,100. You filed against their bond. What do you mean they provided a false rate agreement? Don't you have the rate confirmation which states that they owe you 3,800 plus clean bills, et cetera, et cetera? Or were you hauling onions on a flatbed? Because onions on a flatbed, it's hilarious. Regardless of what broker you work with, in my experience, if you haul onions, you're always getting paid less because they start counting each onion. And if one falls out, God forbid, you're screwed. Ah, they started a secure load board today. Oh, I did not look. Okay, that I don't know about. That hold on, let me check it out. I'm so curious. Um I'm so curious. That is something that I haven't seen. Oh yeah, find loads. Something new is coming. Get early access. Interesting. Okay, I see it. I'll check it out in more detail after the live. Thank you. Highway has a freeload word. Yeah, I'll definitely check it out. Very curious. Finding it hard to run with no ELD because I'm ELD exempt with highway. Yeah, a lot of brokers will require that ELD connection, and a lot of carriers who are exempt are having a very hard time right now. Подскажи, пожалуйста, можно заработать сегодня, если брать в аренду трак для работы на step deck? Thank you. So I'm going to answer in English if you don't mind. Norlan is asking whether it's possible to make any money if you're taking a, a truck for $1,400 on a step deck. Is it 1400 per what period of time? Per week? I hope not. Yeah. Question for you. What is the monthly payment on the truck? And I'll answer your question once I get that answer. I have a carrier to work with and I know how to dispatch. So, what is required initially to start dispatching as I'm outside? Oh, I already answered your question. Can you talk about DAT buying convoy platform, please? Yeah, so I will make a video on that. I have to dive into, again, I have been so much into data recently. If you guys haven't realized, all my videos lately are about charts and data and this and that, because that's where my heart lies. That I completely forgot that they're actually trucking news. So once I look at that article and learn more about what it means for trucking and I can come to a conclusion, I will definitely make a video on it, probably within a week or so. I'm still stuck at our previous mini topic about reviewing brokers. A broker review would only cause damage to them if those reviews would be read and no matter their customers. So I think reviews for brokers, because I agree with you. Hold on. If we could have somehow marketed this to the people that use them so they would know whom they're working with, like also leaving a review of how often are their DAT. Okay. So I think that because I agree with you, if brokers were to get a hold of bad reviews that are posted about them and would see which carriers, those carriers would probably be blacklisted, because the current market, it's completely on the side of the shipper and freight broker, and they are not losing anything by blacklisting one carrier or 2 or 10. So I think a review system needs to be done in a way where it's verified. It's a verified carrier by the system itself, but when a review is posted, it's anonymous. So it just says verified carrier posted a review. Does that make sense? By the way, did everyone notice how often are now DAT accounts hacked? And did you see that these are the same people doing that? I don't have DAT. I had renewed my DAT subscription for the market map for literally 2 weeks. And then I was like, it's not worth it. I really prefer truck stop, but I'm a flatbed and step deck carrier. But yeah, I heard that DAT does have a security issue more often than truck stop, at least. Scotland doesn't have a reason. I filed complaint with the U.S. Department of Transportation office to investigate them. Good for you. Yeah, if they don't have a reason, I mean, you filed against their bond, and if your rate confirmation says that that's the rate, your bills are clean, you're going to get paid. If it was an interstate load, which I'm guessing it was, considering the rate. A video about the highway load board would be great. Yeah, no, absolutely. Once I familiarize myself with it and maybe use it a couple of times, I'm curious. I wonder what is the use like how many people use it. I'm curious. Hey, what companies do you think are best to work for as an owner operator? So I don't have company names, but I can tell you that if you're able, find a smaller sized carrier, because at least that way they treat you like a person, not a number. These mega carriers have lost their damned minds, in my opinion. They treat everyone like crap. Plus, they try to screw you over any chance they get. So find perhaps a smaller carrier, not too small, because if the carrier is way too small, there are more exposed to the current market conditions. And if you prefer stability, like, I don't know, not too small, but not like a mega carrier. But if anyone has someone to recommend, please do. They said they agreed on the rate to get me to haul it, but wasn't going to pay it because it was way over the going. But Timothy, didn't they send you a rate? When they send you a rate confirmation, what price does the rate confirmation show? ¿Qué pasó? Nada. Can I rant a bit? It will be about trucking, nothing bad. Of course, Vadim, rant away. I rant every single day. I just try not to do it, not to, do it in videos, me personally, but I am all here for rants and I completely understand them. So shoot. Knowing everything that you know now, if you could go back in time, would you still have started a trucking company? No. No, absolutely not. At this point, well, I think I answered too quickly. No, no, I wouldn't have. I wouldn't have. At this point, it's different. At this point, if you were to ask me, would you leave the trucking industry? Probably not. But that's because I am neck deep in it at this point. Um, if you told me in 2018 that in 2025, this is how, oops, sorry, this is how I would feel, this is how my days would be going, I would be like, screw that. Yeah. But the thing is, you adapt as time goes on. Like I noticed that I'm a completely different person than I was in 2021 or the beginning of 2022. I changed so much, in some senses for the better, in some sense for the worse, but you kind of adapt and you're not as affected. But yeah, if you told me that in 2018 when I was a totally different person, I'd be like, no. No, thank you. I have a rate confirmation from their email with clean bills and no claims. It was California to Arizona pineapple. Got it. Look, oh, and the rate confirmation shows 3,800. That's it. The fact that they changed their mind after the confirmation was signed, that's a contract. They owe you 3,800 and they can go to hell with their changing of minds. So good for you, file a claim. Why are brokers who own no trucks, buy no fuel, have no $1 million liability insurance, no truck repair expenses, no liability at all, dictate how we do business in the trucking industry? Mark, because the trucking industry, especially the spot market where brokers are, it's dictated by supply and demand, right? And this is a free market in that sense. So then the question becomes, okay, so I think that our brokers price gouging, absolutely. They're keeping crazy margins in their pocket. Do I think it's fair? Absolutely not, because like you said, it's carriers and especially truckers who take risks. It's again, I'm in a very unique position because my business is a family business, and I talk to my family every single day, and I know what kind of toll it can take. So yeah, when you're when a broker's trying to pay you like crap, and you know what this is costing you mentally, psychologically, you think like, what the hell? But if we're talking about just facts, it's a free market dictated by supply and demand. And currently the power is on the side of the broker. When the market was like it was in 2020 and 2021, brokers were totally different people. Totally different people. The way they spoke, the way they treated you, the way they negotiated, the rates they offered, right? It's all dictated by supply and demand. But something you realize really quickly is in situations where a person has the power, you can right away see what kind of personality or what kind of culture the broker culture is, right? About what you said, we can get people to come together, get ready. It will be a long one. So, what I have noticed in this industry, if someone fails, others will celebrate. None will take it as a sign. All right, I'm going to go through this comment first and then I'll get back. Take it as a sign. Now, what I have also seen, I'd say 80% of people in this industry have no idea what it costs to be in this business. Will pay costs that do vary, but if you're not making a profit, then you're losing, and it will get them to the breaking point. Finance, insurance. Nobody is doing it the right way. Fuel expenses involved, but when someone is trying to compete doing the right way, is going bankrupt. What we have gotten used to as well as brokers, we are asking what the broker is paying, what business have you? Yeah, that's true. It shouldn't be like that, but that's what we do, and everyone's doing exactly when we stop doing this type of yep. No, I appreciate it. You are absolutely right. It's basically what you're saying is that desperation is what is causing this industry. And you're right. And desperation comes from a few different things. That's why I'm not a really big fan of pointing the finger and saying that you are the reason that my rates are so shit today. I cannot do that because I don't know your situation, right? Do you have a truck payment that is crazy because when you were buying it, you thought that the market is going to be one way? After all, this recession, it's unseen and unheard of, right? So people didn't plan accordingly because this is out of the norm. I cannot blame people for doing what they do. All I can do is try to find new ways, which is what I tried to do with the calculator, and bless those people that are using it. I hope they enjoy it. But yeah, it's desperation. I read a quote recently that I really, really liked. It said that don't get so thirsty that you start drinking out of every cup that is offered to you, because that is a sure way to get poisoned. And that's what it reminds me of. Yeah. 1,400 a week for truck and 400 for step deck a week. Okay, so $1,800 per week times 4 weeks, $7,200. Yeah, it's gonna be very hard. Step deck is, it's just, yeah, it's gonna be very, very hard. And then you have fuel and everything. No, I don't think that is a really high payment. If you're paying 1,400 plus 400, right, that's $7,200. Hold on, 1,800. 72. No, you are going to, I mean, you can, but it's just going to be very small profits. The fuel is going up too, and all of that. The question is, what kind of insurance do you have? Are you paying for dispatching fees? What percentage are you paying? Are you doing it yourself? But the reality is, fuel and maintenance. Is maintenance included in that payment? Because that is also a difference. Happy to be here. Thank you. Why do you think some brokers do not give me the load due to the so-called no FMCSA ratings? I have 5 years of authority. Any solution? It's funny, Haley. I have actually never gotten rejected for that because I think my company is also not rated. I don't have a rating, and a lot of companies do not have a rating at all, even though we all passed our audits, new entrant audit and everything. But I've never had a broker say no. In terms of solution, in this market, I wish I could have a solution. The next best thing is to provide references. Like, look, these are the brokers I worked with. You can call them. I did a great job. But in this market, the reality is that they have such a big choice of carrier that they will not even spend time trying to hear you out. Mm. Mercer Transportation is a good owner operator company. They have contract freight. They're a flatbed company, but they do have dry vans there as well. They provide plates, insurance, IFTA, and pay $170 a month for insurance. Amazing. Knowing what I know today, I would have stayed there as a company driver a week and a half ago. My wife asked me for divorce. This down cycle has done great damage. Yeah, Miguel, I unfortunately have heard that this is the reality, right? It's the worst time. No matter who you ask, and folks who have been in this industry since the 80s, especially, they will tell you this is the worst the trucking industry has been. They've never seen it like that. It is difficult. It is challenging, for sure. Brokers are non-essential. uh, what margin percentage do you think the average broker pockets? I think anywhere from 25 to 50%. This is the reality. Although I think that the smaller brokers, is my thing on? Yes, it is. I think the smaller brokers, even though I made that video about the other side of broker transparency, smaller brokers, it makes sense that they would pocket larger margins, but because they're also competing for carriers, it makes it different. The payment is different, but yeah, I think it's a huge percentage. Hi, Hall Hazmat Reefer. Yeah. Does anyone know any good hazmat reefer? What is the scope of the trucking company in the future as an independent dispatcher? What do you mean? Like, how can you grow from independent dispatcher to carrier? Or if you want to see all of it, let me know and I'll send it. They are screwed if they drag it out. I'll get a lawyer and go after more money. Good for you. I think that's, I mean, good for you, really. It's the right thing to do. You can't let people get away with things. That's something that I learned. Uh, yeah, if Scotland, I did not have a good experience with Scotland at all. At all. So start with a claim, see what happens, and then plan from there. This is my advice. And I think again, you're doing everything that you should be doing already. Uh, oh, I'm sorry, I missed this. I'm at fire. Thank you so much. Thank you for your support. I run flatbed. Do you think it's worth running my own MC number? I'm contracted with Mercer Transportation and my insurance is 170. I love that price. No, if you're contracted with Mercer, first of all, if you get your own MC number right now, you are going to be faced with the challenge of brokers who are like, no, you're too new. We don't want, plus your insurance is amazing. I would stick with Mercer until the industry gets better, the market gets better, and go from there. But if you're happy there and you're earning a good amount, I wouldn't venture into being an owner operator with your own MC, simply because finding loads with a new MC is so difficult. You can, I think TQL still offers loads to new MC numbers, but your market is so limited. So again, if you're happy there, stay there for now and just weather the storm. um, if I get the bundle of your courses, do they expire after 1 year? No, the 3-in-1 bundle, it doesn't expire at all. So you have access to it for a lifetime. Question. So Wyoming just out of service on ELP drivers. Anyone trying to swoop in to continue with the load or what? That data, unfortunately, is not available. But through the grapevine, I watch a lot of different videos about trucking. So through the grapevine, I do know that there was one company, she made a video, and she was talking about how two of her drivers got out of service orders for English and one got his CDL suspended for that. So it's definitely, things are happening there. It's just not as consistent as to what is happening, you know? But if you looked at the chart, the out of service orders are increasing. Mhm. There's a big argument to be made about shippers actually having all the leverage, lumber loads, steel loads, all posted from brokers to bid on, and we end up on the last run. Yeah, yeah. I hate, by the way, one, like if I call on a load and the broker tells me we're taking bids, I hang up and I don't call on. I mean, I will not take that load because I'm not going to compete with people who are in the desperate situation, like we were just talking about, because I will never win that. Usually in markets, I have had this happen several times over the last few months, where in markets where you go, log into your load board, look, and you see everything's flying off the shelf. I literally will shut down the load board and say, I'm not doing this, and return to it hours later. If I have one truck to book that day, and it's the kind of market where competing doesn't work, because again, I will never win. I know what my cost per mile is. I have a certain rate that I have to make. Yeah, I just walk away and wait for a time where everyone is like the brokers are more likely to panic about not being able to move their load that day. Okay, I answered. Yeah, Jack, yeah, I had a question for you about that. What do you mean? I can tell you that even the tank market is down. The sand loads I was offered for 3,700 last year are under 3,000. Keep in mind, washing out a tank starts at about 275, and that's included. Yikes. Yeah, I feel like, is there any segment of the trucking market that is doing okay right now? Car haulers are down. Tanking, what is it called? The tanker market is down. Reefers, flatbeds, step decks, dry vans are down. Is there anything left where it's actually at least stable? Stable bad, not going down. That's my question. My insurance is $1,500 per month. Our insurance increased this year because we are changing it up a bit. We're changing up our operations. So yeah, 1,500 a month. It's okay. I mean, I think it's average 1,500 a month. Is it with physical damage? And do you have general liability, increased cargo liability? Question. Heard my neighbor sell a load to a carrier, telling him that he's not making anything on it. After he hung up, he laughed and said our load just made $900. I think TQL loves that phrase. Yeah, it's TQL. You tell them a rate. I haven't worked with TQL for a very, very long time. But you tell them a rate and they're like, oh, we're so close. And then they tell you a rate that's $700 less. And that's all I have in it. Yeah, bullshit. That's all you have in it. Tell that to someone who doesn't know this industry. Mercer is better than Landstar. Tanker is more resilient to downward price pressure brought on by cut rate carriers due to higher English language requirement, especially for hazmat. There we go. Anything specialized is going to give you definitely a leg up, right, in this market. You always have to stand out. The load I hauled last week and many times before for 1240 is on DAT now for 630, unknown broker. How are people with payments hanging on? That's the problem. A lot of people in this industry, unfortunately, do not know what it costs them per mile or per day to run their truck. And they think the way they look at it is, okay, but this money is coming in, which means that with those $630, I can buy fuel and I can continue running. This is how they look at it. They don't even realize that, yeah, but it just costs you more, right? So in the obvious scenario, yeah, you're getting $630, but in the less clear, something that you can't see right away scenario, you're losing money. And that's a problem. That's a problem that I think is plaguing this industry, is that people don't know their cost per mile, cost per day, or don't care to know it. I'm more than 600,000. There's no way I can give it all up. Oof. I'm down 10% on the gross year over year. I need to look. I'm curious to see what are, just break it up by take one truck as an example and compare it year over year. I need to do that. I watch your weekly market update, very useful, and not all of it is correct, as you mentioned also, but market is kind of freaky. What do you mean? The market updates, I get sometimes comments that really, really piss me off. Like there's this one guy who commented about how stop lying and you're playing both sides. And how am I playing both sides? Literally, the market update is just data. It's literally just data. So data, as I always say, because I've heard this said before, it's not something I made up. Data doesn't give a flying F about your feelings. It's data, right? And what I do in my market updates is literally just analyze it and kind of present it in a beautiful package that is easy to understand, that is, more useful, because there's a lot of data that is not useful. But yeah, in terms of the market, it's kind of freaky. Absolutely. It is crazy. I've been hauling direct for the same poultry company, and I'm very nervous about the rate cuts. But they haven't happened yet. If they haven't happened yet, hopefully they don't happen. Uh, I mean, how much profit does a solo dispatcher generate by handling 3 trucks? Jack, it depends on what kind of equipment you're handling. What is your rate? Are you doing a fixed rate or are you doing a percentage of gross? It depends on where your trucks are running, right? It could change. Like, for example, I'll give you an example. If each of your trucks is making, what is it called? $30,000, for example, uh, gross per month, right? And you have 3 of them, that's $90,000. And you take, let's say, 3%, you're making $2,700 there. Hi, Miranda. I want to purchase your dispatch course, but I have a question. How do I get access to a DAT load board to book my checks if I don't have an active authority as a dispatcher? Thanks. Robbie, so DAT used to, I know they used to offer, there was a way to sign up as a dispatcher to DAT, so you didn't have to have authority. I need to double check if I tried to double check a couple of weeks ago and then I got sidetracked, but I need to double check if they still are able to sign you up without an MC. But usually, if you are just a dispatching service with no authority, your client is going to give you their MC number. So, and their access to the load board, pretty much. But yeah, I need to double check, or if you want to call DAT and ask them, hey, I'm a dispatcher and this is my situation. Can I get access to the load board? I think there are also a lot of free load boards where you can get a feel for what the loads pay. I think 123 load board is free. Guys, does anyone know what free good load boards there are by any chance? Thankfully, my equipment is paid for and I can park my truck. And then, yes, okay, so this is a very big advantage. When you're not shackled to your equipment in that way, where you don't have to choose between either run and pay for this damned truck or don't, and then that screws up your credit score. Yeah, it's a little bit more freedom, I suppose, which is a wonderful thing. So if you were starting all over again, 1 truck, how would you do it? Oh my God, this is a question and answer for a different video because there are so many things that I would have done differently. There are so many. I'm not upset about how the process, my process went in our company because I learned a lot from it. And I continue learning. Every single day there's so many things I still don't know, like the told you guys $20,000 towing bill that I think could have been avoided if I had more information at that time. There's so many things I would change, but that is a topic that I could talk about literally for hours, and I think it would make a better video where I can edit it and just make it more concise. How's the non-CDL hotshot flatbed trucking market? Can you make a profit at this time? Guys, anyone know? Again, I am more about semi-trucks and trailers. I'm not as familiar with the hotshot market, but from what I see on the flatbed side, anything partial or that could fit on a hotshot pays, oh my goodness, it's sad to see. Idiots that have no sense about how business works will fail. Stop hauling cheap freight. Amen to that. Yeah, stop hauling cheap freight and just try to understand what it costs you to haul a load so that you don't end up digging yourself into a hole. This is so important. What about the local guys that haul grains to the processors or storage? This time of year, it's lots of grain and news about that fraction of the market. Yeah, every single live I do, I always get questions about other equipment types. And I always, I wish I had that information, but the data that I have, and pretty much any data out there, what it will do is it will say, okay, flatbed, here's the data. There's not a lot of data for flatbed as it is, but okay, here's the data there is. Reefer, here's the data. Dry van, here's the data. And then specialized, here's the data. And specialized can mean so many different things. So there's no way of weeding out the things you're not interested in looking at. So that's why I cannot provide updates on that type of market, about tankers and all of that. I wish I could. And if I come across any data like that, I definitely will include it. The market sucks. This is the reason Carol Gilmer is shutting down a 70-year-old company, shutting down because of this bullshit environment. Yeah, there are a lot of different companies that filed for bankruptcy recently. I was just looking at the different ones. Yeah, someone in California also shut down, I think, after 40 years. Yeah, I'm Miranda, but your tone, you got to remember the tone. Joking. Ah, I just finished covering all my trucks, all my vans over 9,000 gross, and my reefers are like between 75, 85, vans around 2. That is amazing for this market. So you are doing better than the average, which is fantastic. Let's see. No, that's what I was trying to illustrate in Marantal. You said if people will understand what you explain, things will change no matter what truck you have. And people thinking that it's okay, it pays for diesel, that's a recipe for disaster and dragging everyone down. Absolutely, 100%. Heavy haul is relatively stable, but it's incredibly limited and requires much more expensive equipment, licensing, annual permits, and experienced certified drivers. Yes, that's true. Nowadays, DAT requires you to have a company profile where you add dispatchers because DAT now has. Okay, so DAT no longer allows non-MC or DOT holders, as I understand, to get access. I think maybe this has to do with the fact that DAT was riddled with fraud and continues to be riddled with fraud, from what I understand. On truck stop, I believe it's a little bit more strict. Got signed up with factoring through one of your old videos. Any recommended lenders for equipment financing for new authorities? So equipment financing, my favorite is Crossroads. I don't know if they only are based in California. Not sure about that, but Crossroads is my favorite. Daimler was very, very good. Their interest rates, when we financed with Daimler a while ago, their interest rates were okay at that time. BMO is very reliable and they're everywhere, and pretty much every single dealer will deal with BMO because they're so big. But BMO, their interest rates are absolutely horrific. Yeah. I get hopper grain offers and it's sad. Here's some data. Ron is here. Hi, Ron. Love it. Hi, Miranda. Thank you for answering my question about how to have access to DAT load, where to book my trucks. That is great advice. I'm going to purchase your dispatch course and get started. Thanks. Thank you, Robbie. Yeah, let me know if you have any other questions. I also started something new. I'm going to let you guys know here. I started a membership only thing on my channel on YouTube for $2.99 per month. And basically, it's going to give access to videos early. It's going to have some unique videos, but the biggest thing is it's going to add any member to the Discord channel. So I just found out about Discord. I knew about Discord before, but I dove into it. And there is an option to have a live chat there, like text messaging. So yeah, just so you guys know, if you are interested, there's going to be a forum on Discord for members. There's going to be a live chat. I think I'm going to make a voice channel as well because I know folks are driving. Yes. Hi, Stan. Spasiba. Spasiba. Пожалуйста. So yeah, guys, I don't know. This market is very, very interesting for sure. I'm having a very hard time. I don't know. How are you guys? If anyone here is on a step deck, How are you guys dealing? I saw one person say that step deck died recently. And I don't know if it's just me or maybe I just am not very good at booking for step decks. I don't know. I cannot find step deck specific loads. And another thing I learned is that step decks, and we have a low profile step deck. The wheels are very small. Those wheels, those tires, geez, Louise, it is horrific. We had so on the weekend, by the way, on was it Saturday? On Friday, we had three tires, different tires, blow on our step deck during the day, in one day on a Friday. So I don't know if it's just our luck and step deck is just not for us, or if it's the market. Again, I'm not as familiar with it. I'm new to it. We needed to come back. What do we need? What is coming back? Just bypass the wait station. Yikes. Oh, I hope they're not running after you with their lights. um, direct customers and COD is the only thing keeping me afloat. Load boards are tough. Load boards are tough, that's for sure. But if you are blessed with being in a pretty decent market, it gets better. Had a wheel and tire come off my trailer and fly past me the other day. Nobody was hurt. Oh, thank goodness nobody was hurt. Yeah, it's a mess. Again, someone's calling. Yeah. Um, on low profile step decks, you cannot go over 60 miles per hour. They will blow up. See, this is something we didn't know. This now makes sense completely because yes, we do have a low profile step deck and he was going 65 to 70. And that's probably what it is. 60 miles per hour. So you're also limited on the mile. Hold on. I'm going to text him. I'm actually going to, give me 1 second. This is very helpful. Thank you so much. See, this is what I mean. I learn from you guys every single day. I'm towing semi trucks. It's still good. Good. I have my own non-CDL truck, but I'm new in this field. My question is MC leased is legal? If legal, how? So, what do you mean leased MC? I'm not like buying an MC or leasing on to someone who has an MC. For step deck, you need ramps, Twick, and you're good. Yeah, we have ramps. We have load levelers. I need to get Twick card. I keep forgetting. We do need a Twick card. We keep paying for those damned escorts, so I need to get a Twick card. Yeah. But it's been hard. No, it's been hard to book for step decks because the volume of loads for a step deck specifically is very low. And yeah, I don't know. For that low pro step deck, use only top brand tires. Yes, they're expenses, no recaps, and keep speed 60, 62 miles, especially if it's heavy loaded. Thank you so much. I'm going to send this to my guy as well, who is on a step deck. Thank you guys. I adore you. You know that? You guys are awesome. um, and step deck specific loads are the ones requiring ramps, something a regular flat cannot take. Yeah, I noticed that we have been hauling a lot of machinery, obviously. It's very light. We have been doing more and more military loads with our step deck, which is nice. This is my favorite type of load to book. These are the nicest people out there and the best loads and best paying too, when you get lucky enough to find a military load. But yeah, we had this Friday thing where 3 different tires blew up, but now it makes sense. I think he was just driving over, not I think, I know he was driving 65 to 70 miles per hour, thinking it's normal, but yeah. Carol Fulmer shuts down after 70 years. Yeah, there are a few bankruptcies happening. So we have, oi, let's see, a California trucking company closes after 40 years, TGS Transportation. We have, where's our bankruptcies? Colorado Trucking Company files for bankruptcy, Indian Creek Express. My goodness, there are so many, unfortunately. Uh, Nissan to close an auto plant in Mexico, mass layoffs across freight companies in the US. Yeah, it's insanity. There's so much. Ron Transport laying off 144 workers in Arizona after losing contract. Yeah, this is happening everywhere. You know who I don't see shutting down, or very rarely? Brokers. Do you guys realize that? Ah, not true. I ran low pro step for 7 years, driving 70/75. Zero blowouts yet. There's only two types of Michelin and Sumitomo, 17.5. What is our tire size? I had it somewhere. Because when I was calling the towing company, and of course I shut it down. Uh, yeah. Thank you for that. Thank you. Move to Montana. I'm actually going to be visiting Wyoming soon for the first time. I'm super excited. I think we're going to drive to Montana. And also, I made a decision. I'm going to the Mid America Trucking Show in March for the first time. I'm so excited to see it. Uh, Alex, stop the bullshit. Sue me, Tomo garbage. Ah. All right. For now, all I know is that don't drive fast, right? Don't drive fast on a step deck. And we know that Michelin is good no matter what. How hard was it to get into the military freight? I got some emails trying to get me to pull loads, but the process seemed like a lot. So no, we don't have we didn't do it that way. It was through the load board, but I am familiar. I forgot what the broker, there's one broker who works on the West Coast, and they constantly have military loads from California going to Washington and back. Love that broker. All I know is I forgot the broker's name, the brokerage name, but I know that they have a broker. His name is Bentley or Bailey. He's amazing. But yeah, it's usually from the load board. Military loads are best paid for by your taxes and your real gain. What does the future transparency look like? Which I think, well, right now it looks like it's in the process of evaluating what transparency will mean and what it will look like, but nothing concrete yet. At least this cheap run is Michelin and don't blow up like every other brand. I mean, my MC is new and brokers don't give me loads. I get a lot of calls every day saying, we'll get you set up on another MC. Yeah, what they mean is you need an older MC. I wouldn't recommend buying an MC. I've heard people say that it works. I've heard people say that it doesn't. It resets your MC. Right, the age will not be seasoned. Yeah, I think what they're talking about is if you lease on to a carrier. But it's just about if you're a new MC, try to find brokers that work with new MCs. Unfortunately, one of them is TQL. And then smaller brokers. And another piece of advice is keep a reference sheet of brokers you do work with. By the way, TQL is not considered a reference because of their size and because of how they work. Ask backwards. But yes, you should keep references of the smaller brokers you work with, and that might help you in tougher markets where brokers cannot find a carrier to move their load. There are markets like that. You can be that carrier and say, hey, I might not have the authority age, but here's a list of references. Do you want to make an exception? Brokers make all the money. We choose the wrong side of the industry. I don't think I don't know if we chose the wrong side of the industry, but it's definitely the side which carries all the liability. Everything is on the trucker's shoulders, right? It's everything is on the trucker's shoulders. No one is responsible for anything except for the trucker, which is one of my biggest pet peeves about this industry. No matter, like I said before, regardless of who, I'm not going to say the bad word because my dad might be watching and he will kick my butt. No matter who F's up at the end, it's the trucker who always pays the price. We adore your expertise and devotion to this industry. Keep up the good work. Thank you, Vadim. Yes, I will continue trying to find new things for you and digging up more data and things that are useful, truly useful. If you remember that broker, let me know. I'm in Washington. Hold on. Let me see how it was a while ago because we haven't been to Washington. If I remember, just send me an email and say, hey, can you just let me know if you find that broker? And I will. Do you have an Amazon account? No, I do not. Jay, Amazon is garbage. And it was garbage in 2021 when I got an Amazon account and I just looked at the rates and I closed that. I mean, I decided I'm not working with them because the rates even in 2021 were crappier, much crappier than even what the load board offered. Where are you from? Love from California. I'm also from California. So love back from California. Yeah, just shoot me an email and I'll definitely. I know that the guy's name was Bentley, or I think it was Bentley. He's amazing. He's amazing. But a lot of military loads also come out from New Mexico. Yeah. They have a training base there. They have a military training base and they ship quite a bit. So like this. All right, guys, I think we had a fantastic live today. I really appreciate all of you joining and watching. And yeah, I'll continue digging for data and I need to start putting more news on this channel. I was doing so well for a while where I was talking about like current news and this is happening and that's happening and it was helpful, I saw. But then I just kind of fell into what is nice and cozy for me, which is numbers. So yeah. All right. A few more. TQL had a run in with Justin at Just Trucking. It was ugly for Justin. Running with Just Truck. Is that a YouTube channel? I need to look it up. It's crazy that self-driving trucks is being pushed so much, but planes have autopilot, but we ride on planes without a pilot. Crazy to think about. Yeah, it is crazy to think about, but you have to remember planes don't have as much traffic on the road as trucks do, right? So I don't know how I feel about self-driving trucks. I love technology getting better. I love anything technology, but I hate that technology is limiting privacy in the trucking industry for truckers and carriers. And I'm not sure about self-driving trucks. You're so cute. I learned a lot from your videos. I'm so glad. Thank you. Good stuff. Yes, good stuff. Here's a question for you. How to change email from a generic one like Gmail to a company website domain? It's not to raise any risk. I know that some brokers are trying to do that. We have a Gmail email. And if a broker doesn't want to work with me because I have a Gmail email since the start of the company, well, they can go fly a kite. But I think to get a domain, you have to you have to pay. It's like a monthly fee, which I refuse to do for an email, please. But it's a monthly. I think you can do it on Gmail as well. Rob, yes. Okay, I have to look him up. Justin at Just Trucking. Hold on. You guys are giving me so much good information today. Just Trucking YouTube. Okay, I wrote that down. Thank you so much. How do you do it? Yeah, again, Gmail. Gmail, you can do it. It's paid. I think it's a monthly fee. Yeah. I'd like to see a self-driving truck notice his brakes catch fire or handle losing brakes down the hills. Absolutely. There is a human factor that you cannot, the human factor that helps that you cannot deny, right? I don't think anyone is ready for self-driving trucks. Is there an update about the towing incident? No, not yet. I will make a video on it once everything is done and once that case is closed because it is a shit show. Sorry, Dad, if you're watching. It is a complete crap-a-doodle show. Do you feel that more carriers will have to go out of business for the rates to go up? I think there has to be two things. Look, the economy is not doing well. The volume of loads is not doing well. And the trucking economy is just a mess right now. Of course, if capacity decreases like crazy and volume stayed the same, you'll see rates go up. But the reality is for it to stabilize, the volume has to come up, the capacity has to decrease, both have to happen at the same time. Justin recommended you to watch. I will watch for sure. Just trucking. Thank you so much for that. I'm actually going to watch it. I'm going to look at the load board, highway load board after this live, and I'm going to watch that channel. Super curious. Now you gotta create a domain through GoDaddy or whatever, then you can create an email address. There we go. Oh, no monthly fee, pretty easy, can explain. How long have you been inside the logistics field? 2019, so going on 6 years now. Don't use Google for business email. They are way overpriced. Yeah, that's what I heard. I use Gmail now, but need to change. Everything is up and running. Self-drive. Yes, I agree, Benjamin. Self-driving trucks are garbage. $10 a year domain and 5 free business emails. Low legwork, setting it up, but not bad. Oh, that is okay. That's not $10 a year for an email. Okay, that's not bad. Oopsie. Do you follow Mother Trucker News? Absolutely, I do. I really enjoy his channel. I think he has a lot of good information there. Alex, right? Yeah, he's pretty great. All right, I'm going to fill up my vape. Hi, you're starting a local dispatcher. Hi, Aristo. By the way, why do you do trucking? I mean, it's like the craziest business out there. Don't you? You don't look like a crazy person. I ended up in trucking, not against my will, but it wasn't my idea. It was just something that I wanted to help. I was asked for help with starting a business in trucking. And then one thing led to another. This is an industry where I learn every day. For me, the worst thing is when I'm bored, and I'm bored when I don't learn. This is an industry where it's absolutely insane. It is extremely stressful. It changes you as a person, very often not in the best way, but you learn every single day because it changes constantly. And now I'm just, like I said, I'm in it neck deep. And this is the industry I know. This is the industry I'm curious about. It moves everything in the US. And yeah, basically, I'm not stuck. It's my choice to stay. For work like ports, self-driving truck. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Rico, so much. Which used truck to buy? Try to buy a fresh truck with fresh miles. If it's a Freightliner, just know that at 400,000 miles, it starts falling apart at the seams. Yeah, splitting at the seams. Vaping as bad as I puff mine. No, absolutely. I use Tech 247. No, Tech 247. I have so many different ones. What was it? No, this is not it. I used to smoke cigarettes, and I think It's just better, right? It's not healthy by any means. Please don't misunderstand me. Not healthy, bad for you, but not as bad as smoking 2 packs of cigarettes a day. um, how much do you earn per month? What do you mean, like our trucking company or me? Smoking is the only reason we're not in a mental hospital with the current marking. So there we go. I agree. And I don't drink. I drink, there are only 3 things I drink: water, finally, Diet Coke, or coffee. I don't drink alcohol. Um, I don't smoke like marijuana or do anything like that. So this is my only like thing that is bad that I get to do, you know? Bad. Good afternoon, Miranda. Just chimed in. Did you talk about the EPA with doing away with emissions? I did not yet. So I have been living under the rock of data lately. I have been diving deep into data, trying to merge data to give you guys the best, most updated charts. So I haven't really read the news as much. I glance over it. I know there are a lot of articles about this. I'm going to start implementing again, putting into my YouTube channel more news articles about what's going on in the industry, not just statistics and data. But yeah, I'll make a video on that. I've been having a good luck with buying used trucks from System Transport, typically 4 years old, 300, 380K miles for 50, 60K. Find out who wholesales the nice. That's amazing. Quick question, how a driver can become okay, so drivers make the best dispatchers. Just so you know, if a dispatcher started out as someone who was driving a truck, they know the ins and outs of what they go through as a driver. They make the best dispatchers. So how to start as a dispatcher, you can either open your own dispatching company if you have friends that you can dispatch or family. If not, then you have to cold call and find clients to dispatch, or you can work for a dispatching company. Yeah. Ever watch Bonehead Truckers? I just subscribed to him. I just subscribed to him a few days ago, and I saw he had a video of how they are. There was something about ELP. There was something. I mean, he has a lot of interesting videos, but yeah, I just subscribed. Also for step deck, book loads ahead, like multiple loads ahead of time, but don't tell anyone. That is something I'm really, I think I have a luck problem because there have been moments where I booked ahead for flatbeds and something goes wrong at delivery. I have to cancel that load, so really bad with that, but thank you for the advice. I'll definitely take it into consideration. Please don't drink Diet Coke. It's very unhealthy for you. I know it's unhealthy. I literally have. It's unhealthy, but I'm also keto, and this is the only sweet thing I get to have in my sweet. I used to smoke and switch to vape. Also, if I don't do one of the two, I'm more likely to go to jail for pulling somebody out of the car, feeding them up because of their stupidity. Right? Yeah. No, it calms you down. It's funny. Nicotine, it actually increases. I always found it funny. Nicotine actually increases your heart rate, so it's supposed to kind of do the opposite of calm you down, but it does calm you down. Like when I'm really stressed out, this is just right here and I'm just puffing, which is horrible. But again, better than cigarettes. Hey, we're making progress. Bonehead Trucker is mental. It's garbage. I think from what I saw, he has some interesting videos, like interesting topics, some controversial, but still, one thing that I really like doing is, regardless of how I feel about the YouTuber themselves, and I don't feel any particular way about Bonehead Trucker because I haven't watched enough of the videos, I can pull out information from any video that I find views. Again, I'm all about learning. For me, that is something that is really important, and I feel like I can pull out information from his videos as well. Beating, yeah. I don't know how you do it, but Towing Laws and Regulations PDF was amazing help. You must have done a lot of digging. Yes, so I have done a lot of digging. And funny thing is, I didn't do the digging when it happened to us. I did the digging when I started making that video. So that's why I love this channel, is because it kind of forces me now, considering how many folks are in our community, I have to consistently find topics to talk about. And when I do, I have to do digging because I have to provide the most up-to-date information. So it helps me as well. But yeah, I found all of that out only after that happened to us, when I started making the video, writing it up. Think of getting a used Freightliner under 150K miles, 4 years driving, might run with my current company, but not sure. Stay company or go? Thoughts. Stay company. Stay company. You're safer being a company driver right now than going out and venturing on your own. Yeah, especially if you get paid by the mile or hourly. Yeah. All right, guys. So I am so sorry, but I am going to start, what is it called? Moving out. I really want to see the load board, the highway load board. I want to play around with it. I will make a video on it. I have a lot of videos to make. Apparently, I have to talk about the bankruptcies. I have to talk about the convoy acquisition by DAT. We have to talk about the emissions. So all of that is coming soon. And yeah, I really appreciate you guys joining. I'm sorry if I didn't reply to your comments. And yeah, if you have any questions, again, my email is this one, talkabouttrucking@gmail.com. Thank you guys. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.